Thank you for clicking on this video. This is another episode of how to build the Go Kart God Go Kart. Today we're going to do a rough mock-up of all the parts because there's still some welding I got to do on the frame. There's some cleanup on the frame I still want to do, but I know I got to start now mounting where the brake assembly goes and where does the master cylinder go, and basically installing the rotors and all that fun stuff on the back. Today on this video, I'm just going to work on pretty much the front steering. Want to basically mount everything up but the wheels, and maybe, I don't know, if there's time we'll do the steering wheel as well. But in the previous video you saw how I prepped the steering wheel, so it shouldn't be that hard to just pop it on there real quick. But I wanted to start putting stuff together, so when I'm done with the final build and painting the frame or coating the frame, I can come back and put it together really easily and simple and make sure everything works. So now we're just going to go ahead and start working on. Start with the spindles. These things are really insane. They're awesome. I mean, they're beefy, they're strong. The welds on them are nice and clean. The whole design of it is nice and clean. This thing is just very, very, very well designed and very easy to, adjust and maintain. So remember, guys, with the bolt, with the nut down at the bottom, the cast nut at the bottom, and then this metal flat piece goes towards the back. So this is going to be the right side. This is going to be the right side. If you need to, just take a little Sharpie on the bottom. If you need to, on the bottom, you can put R and L for right and left, or however you want to mark it up. It's up to you. Put a piece of tape, label it. Make it easier for you when you're putting this thing together. I just remember that with the bolt down and this basically this arm piece facing towards the back of the vehicle, that's the passenger side, or the right side, because there's no passengers, just the driver. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disassemble this piece, just take this nut off, but I want to leave this nut and this locking, well, this nut on there as well, the washer and the nut. I'm going to go ahead and just put these on by hand. Do the same with the bottom. I'm leaving the nut, the bottom nut, where it needs to be. Just taking off one nut and one washer. Okay, now that gave me the alignment I need for right here. This is where the wheel will be mounted. So this is where the wheel will be mounted. And this will go to the tie rods, the steering rods. So when you turn the wheel, this will move how you want to move. To the left, to the right. There you go. That's the start for the first side. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. I'm only taking off one nut and one washer. Okay, when I got mine, the alignment was pretty much already there. So what I've been trying to do is leave this nut where it's set up and only adjust this one for now, because this is kind of giving me the rough idea where the alignment's going to be for the wheels. So I'm trying to leave these on the top and the bottom, leave them, this top one and the bottom one here, trying to leave them in their position, and then just adjusting the outside, the inside ones for now, because I want to try and keep the geometry as it was. It came from the guys from Go Kart God. If this does not come pre-assembled in your kit, or if it does come pre-assembled and you took it apart by accident and you don't know how to put it back together, the beautiful thing is that the assembly of this system right here, this part of the steering, the entire assembly directions are in the manual. So if you do take it apart, you can put it back. I decided not to take mine apart. I'm going to leave it, and like I said, just take this nut and the bottom nut out and then leave everything else on, and I can slide it on and off. The other nice thing is, with the way these are designed, if you tighten up the top or loosen the bottom, make sure they're all fully tightened when you're going to drive, you can adjust the way this spindle will go up or down. So you could basically make it tilt up, tilt down, camber in, camber out, to adjust for the wheels that you're putting on it. And that's pretty much it for the spindle. It's a very, very awesome piece. Beautifully designed. It's got this plate on the bottom with the holes in it. This is where you're going to attach to those wonderful steering knuckles and steering spindles that were designed for the system. And then the kit comes with 2 of these collars, and one will go on the bottom, the other one will go on top. Now the reason why it's not going on is because there's an Allen key in there, an Allen set, and you're going to want to open that up, slide the collar on, and then when you get to where you need the steering column, you're going to relock that piece up with your Allen key. And so open that up, put the collar on there. Now what you need to do is the block that goes in there and the block that goes at the top, we need to install at least the bottom one first, so this rod can sit in on it and not fall out or get ready for the angle you need to put into here. This is in the instruction book known as a steering block. We're going to install this one first, and then have it where the steering rod or column fits in there and rides in there easily. So it's going to go to the bottom piece over here, and you take your cap Allen bolt and your nut. What we're going to do is we're going to just basically just slide that through, just like so. Your steering block and your bolt and nut. I'm going to add 2 washers to it. They're 5/16 washers. I just went out and bought a 100 pack from the local hardware store. I'm going to take one and put it on the bolt like that. I'm going to install this just like so. Take another washer on the outside and take the nut. Just like that. Now, you do not have to put washers on it if you do not want to. It's okay. Now I'm going to take the steering rod with this collar on it. I'm just going to insert it right inside that piece. I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to see where that finalizes and rests, because you can adjust this height with that collar. Then the collar will be riding on that steering block. Okay, so the second steering block has this little collar in it, and it's got adjustments for angle of the steering wheel. There's 3 holes in there. And then what you want to do is also use a collar and the bolt that comes with the block. Again, I'm adding 5/16 washers to it myself. I went and got a bag at the local hardware store. They're really cheap, you know, so just something I wanted to add to it. You don't have to use these. I am, just because it's the way I am. I just like to put washers on everything, I guess. So again, another collar. We're just gonna place it on, and you can let it fly down to the bottom. It's fine. It's not going to go anywhere. So this collar, well, yep, it's going to stay like this. So the collar will go out towards the driver, and then what you do is simple. Just lay it on this rod here, and then depending on where you put the bolt through, that'll give you your angle for the steering rod. Okay, so for right now, I'm just going to place it in because this is just a mock-up. So I'm going to take my bolt, and I'm adding a washer. The washer is not included, but a 5/16 washer is cheap at the hardware store. So just slide it through, taking my other washer, and a locking nut. And just hand tightening it for now. Not wrenching it down, don't have to, because I still need to make the adjustment of how high that's going to ride. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to adjust this up. It's about halfway, because I don't know the final placement of it just yet. I will not know that until we actually do the final build. But I just wanted to show you guys how take your Allen key and basically you just lock this collar, and now it's not going to slide anywhere. So that steering column rod is now locked in the height position, but it still freely moves back and forth. Then I'm going to take this other collar. Okay, so now this is the second collar. I'm going to take this, go all the way up. Now you got to hop it over top of this little part of the steering column, or the steering rod, or the 1-inch steel pipe that's holding the whole thing up. And then I'm going to tighten this one in. So now this column for steering is not going to go up or down. It's locked into place. It can't slide fore or aft. And one of the reasons you want that is so when it comes to the steering, you don't want this plate to go up and down. You just want to be able to turn left and right. And that's it. Because if it starts going up and down, you're going to have some issues. So these two, this collar and the one above, you definitely want to make sure they're on there tight. Now, I'm going to add something to it on the final build. Maybe, I don't know. I'll see what's happening with it, if I can find the part that I'm looking for. But I'm thinking of putting two nylon washers in between here, so it rides smooth, and over time, the metal against metal is not going to be affected. So if I can find nylon washers that fit this, I'll put 2 of those on there, and it'll basically be like a plastic bearing where there's gonna, the metal won't rub together, but the plastic will. And if that wears away, I really don't care. So again, it depends on what's going on with the build. It's something you don't have to do. That's up to you. Again, I'm building this for a movie, and I just want to make sure that everything's easy for them when they're using it. Next, we're going to add the tie rods that go between this plate and the steering spindles. And as with everything in this kit, it comes with a nice little Ziploc bag with all your nuts and bolts you need for the tie rods. And these are basically really, I mean, it's hardened steel bolts. They're, they're definitely designed to take strain and stress, and it's what you want. Now, what's really cool again is they're gonna include these castle nuts with these locking clips in there as well, and everything's in this bag you need. Again, they just know how to leave everything you need for in this kit. You don't have to go finding anything. Oh, okay, so they're actually calling these safety clips. I'm sorry. So these are called safety clips. Definitely want them on there, so as you're riding down, you don't want the castle nut from vibration to pop off, and then you don't have any steering. But again, for what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Loctite on the final build. This is just a mock-up. When I go through the final build, you'll see me putting Loctite on everything, even though you got the castle nut and you got the safety clips. Again, this is for a movie, and from what I understand, they might want to do a stunt with it, and I don't want what they're doing. I don't know yet, so it could be some nice little jumping in there or some sliding or whatever. I don't know, but I want to make sure nothing comes undone while there's a stunt person or an actor on this thing. So this is the tie rod. It's got these adjustable ends, and basically what you do is you're going to take one bolt, you're going to take the castle nut, and then there's the safety clip, and then there's a little washer in here as well that they include. So what's going to happen is when you put this together, you're going to take your bolt and go through just like so, and then you're going to put on, then comes a washer, and then whatever metal piece it is either that steering piece or the pitman arm. I'm going to start with the bottom hole, which is this right here, and I'm just going to rest it there, and I'm going to put the castle nut on. You're going to need to put this clip in, and for the bolt and the castle nut, you're going to need an Allen key and a wrench, and I'll put the sizes you need up on here on the video. Okay, for the castle nut, you're going to need a 9/16 wrench. I'm using a socket because it's not going to be that far of a, for me to tighten it. And then you'll need a 5/16 Allen. So basically, the Allen will go there, castle nut there, and just tighten it up. Again, I'm only doing hand tight for now because this is not my final assembly. And then take the safety clip, pop it open. We're going to find the hole in the bolt. Come all the way through with it. And lock the safety. I'm going to do the same with the spindles and the pitman arms. Okay, these bolts might take a little bit of force to slide them through because they drilled holes in where the locking pin goes in, or the safety clip. So that might have some, a little bit of a gack on it. So just take your time, push it through. It'll get there. Then we're going to put our little locking collar right into the pitman arm and add the castle nut and the safety clip. So with the tie rods in place, when the steering wheel turns, both tie rods and both wheels will move at the exact same time. Now by adjusting these tie rods, by going in or out with them, will move the pitman arm, which will then adjust the alignment. And we'll get into that more later on when we do the final build. And then once you get it all set, you'll take this nut and you'll basically lock it into the pitman, into this tie rod arm on both sides. And then you won't have to worry about your alignment coming unaligned or misaligned or de-aligned, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not a suspension guy. I'm not a steering guy. So, when the steering wheel turns, it'll move both sides equally. So, on these nice beefy solid, I mean they're not solid, but beefy tires, I went ahead and installed in the center of it the bearing assembly. See right here. And that's just going to go right here on this spindle right here. So what you want to do is take off your safety clip. That's what that is right there. I'll put off to the side for right now. And I found, take off the castle nut, I found that I want to leave this skinny spacer on here first. Then put the tire on. The two larger spacers back in. And your castle nut. And put the clip back in. So this is what it's going to look like when the wheels are installed. I still have the floor pan to put in here. The floor pan, that's going to be on the last thing to install. I've already done the tabs and everything for the floor pans, but I'm leaving them out so they don't get scratched or damaged while I'm building this. And as you can see, when the steering wheel turns, both wheels turn. Nice simple design, very strong. It's not going to go anywhere. If you want to adjust the angle of the steering wheel, you still have some more in this block to adjust. You got the two collars in, lower collar, upper collar, and I mean even these hind joints are real beefy hind joints. Nothing was skipped on those. Again, the alignment's not set up on this yet. It's just a mock-up build. We'll go through how to do the alignment and how to do the camber on the wheels on the final assembly. And it's getting there. And then now I'm going to put the castle nut on there. And you want to find where the safety clip is going to go in. Not fitting there. That's where it fits. And clip it in. If it doesn't fit, this nut is a 15/16 socket is what you're going to need for this. So what I recommend is finding a deep wall one and maybe a little extension. Slide it on there, and now just use your socket wrench and tighten it down to where you need it. And then just make sure that when you tighten it, you still have the ability to put the safety clip in there. Okay, I got to rotate it a little bit more. Okay, so now tight enough, I can put the clip in. The clip is in. The clip is now locked. That tire is not coming off now. Now the thing is, if you tighten this too much, you might risk the form of crushing the bearings inside the mount for the wheel, and you don't want to crush those bearings. You want to have them be nice and tight, because a broken bearing is going to deviate from your performance of the wheel and also deviate from your ride. Now you'll notice that what I did also is I put a label right there on the rim of the tire. It's how much PSI is needed depending on what type of riding you're doing. This is again, this is being built for a movie, so I put that on there. It's also, I have notes inside a notebook that I'm building for them. We call it the build book. That'll say what the PSI is for each tire. I leave it in there. I let the film company or the motor pool or whoever's in charge of the automotive department for the film, I let them peel it off if they need to. If not, it'll be there at all time. And that's just a basic label from a label maker I got at home. Pretty simple. It's a good reference point if anybody needs to know how much PSI you need to put in this thing. So that's pretty much everything on the mock-up so far. So I want to thank you for joining in on this video. Let's break the algorithm and hit subscribe and like. And hope you enjoy what's happening so far. There's a bunch of other cool stuff coming up in future videos for this build. And like I said, let's go out there, have fun, and see you on the next one. Thank you.